Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and today we're going over the waiver wire for week 4. I had to switch up the fancy hat. Felt like blue today. 3 quarterbacks you need to grab from the waiver wire. Number 1 is Jared Goff. Goff goes against New England next week, but he dominated against the Seahawks, and I think he's going to do a fine job against New England. I do like that defense, but Jared Goff has been playing pretty well. 34 points last week, 26 points 2 weeks before that. I think he's a solid add. And if you have him, see if anybody in your league needs a quarterback. He's probably not going to get more valuable to trade than he is right now. So you might want to trade him. Also, he has a bye in a week after that. So if you're not going to use him this week, trade him. Next up, I have Geno Smith. He goes up against New Orleans this week. Geno's been having a couple good weeks in a row. I think that he's actually playing pretty well, just looking from the eye test. Solid grab. And famous Jameis. He was out this week, but if he comes back and plays against Seattle, I think that's a good matchup. He could have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas back. That is to be seen. We don't quite know that yet, but I do think that Jameis, if his pieces play, could be a solid play. So that's going to do it for my quarterbacks to pick up. Who do you like? Who don't you like? Who did I miss? Let me know down in the comments. Running backs you should be grabbing off the waiver wire. 2 running backs that probably aren't on the waiver wire, but you should check for. Melvin Gordon. Unfortunately, Javonte Williams went down for the year with a torn ACL, among other things. Melvin Gordon, though he has had some fumbling issues, is still the best running back in that backfield at the moment, and he should be rostered. So if he's out there, grab him first. Also, Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson had that unfortunate shooting prior to the season starting, but he was going to be the starting running back for the Washington football team. You might want to grab him before he comes back. Up next, my running backs that are most likely out on the waiver wire. Starting with Raheem Mostert. At the bottom, you can see Raheem Mostert had over twice as many snaps as Chase Edmonds. He ran almost 3 times the routes as Chase Edmonds. And he had way more carries. I don't think that Chase Edmonds is done, but I think Raheem Mostert is worth an add in an offense that is adapting at the moment with Tua Tagovailoa currently out. I think that he's definitely worth a grab. Also, they're going against the Jets this week. Pretty solid matchup. Next up, Tyler Algier. What makes me nervous about this one is, yes, Cordero Patterson is out for a month on the IR, but he's not the only one you got to worry about. I also think that Darrell Williams will be coming back in the next week or 2. So that's more competition. Also, Caleb Huntley will most likely be involved in the offense. So if I had to pick a running back from the Atlanta backfield, give me Tyler Algier. But he's not alone in this, though I do think he gets a majority of the touches. In my previous video, I told you that you should be grabbing Melvin Gordon if he's out there, but let's be honest, he's probably not. Mike Boone looks like he's going to be the next man up, right? Maybe not. The Broncos swooped in and grabbed Latavius Murray from the Saints practice squad. Sneaky move, and they didn't do it for no reason. For lack of better words, Latavius Murray is a pro. He's a good, strong running back with decent at pass protection. He can catch the ball okay, and he does not fumble the ball. The main issue we're having with Melvin Gordon, who has fumbled the ball more than anybody else in the NFL this year. 4 times during the regular season. 5 if you include preseason, but we don't. But the 4 during the regular season is wild. He's only carried the ball like 40 times. But considering this is a short week, I think that Mike Boone is going to be more involved than Latavius Murray for now. I don't know how long that's going to stay. So don't blow all your fab on Mike Boone. Honestly, Mike Boone and Latavius Murray are both probably deserving of a roster spot. Dealer's choice. I will most likely be going after Latavius Murray and Boone. Also, Boone had 2 killer drops in the game when they needed him to catch the ball to get the first down. Bad drops. Not the best passes by Russell Wilson, but definitely catchable balls. You gotta catch those, kid. Also, Isaiah Pacheco looks pretty solid. He might be worth the waiver wire add. And last but not least, if Rachaad White is out on your waiver wire, he's definitely worth a grab. For those of you who don't know, he's the running back for the Bucs. He's the backup behind Leonard Fournette. It looks like they were alternating drives between him and Leonard Fournette. I do think that he is worth an add. He's going to be on a good offense, and he's building some trust with Tom Brady, which is always a good thing. Who do I have too high? Who do I have too low? Who did I miss off this list? Let me know down in the comments. 3 wide receivers you need to make sure are not on your waiver wire right now. Number 1, Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is showing out in Green Bay. He's catching the ball for Aaron Rodgers, except for that bad drop that allowed them to go into overtime. You gotta catch that ball, Rook. Don't worry, you'll learn. If Romeo Doubs isn't there, grab Isaiah McKenzie. With Jamison Crowder going down to injury, I think McKenzie's going to be more involved, though McKenzie had a concussion situation he's dealing with, so keep an eye out on the news, but I do think that he is worth a grab in this offense. And last but not least, Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay has been showing out. I'm overthinking it's a complete fluke. I think he's going to be involved in this offense. Now, this offense is not a high-flying, passing the ball all over the field kind of offense, but he does seem to be getting touchdowns and he seems to be getting targets. I think he's worth an add. And for some players that may be more likely to be on your waiver wire, number one, Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup is still out in over 50% of leagues, and he needs to be on your team. He's going to get worked back into this offense, and CeeDee Lamb is going to need a number two. Noah Brown's not going to hold that role very long. Next up, Zay Jones. Yes, he was injured last week, so he did not play, but I still think that he is worth looking out for. He's getting the targets, and those targets are turning into production. Just because it's on Jacksonville, don't sleep on him. Pick up Zay Jones. Next up, George Pickens. With Kenny Pickett being in the offense, it looks like he's looking Pickens' way. I'm not extremely excited about this because I'm more so nervous about what Kenny Pickett is going to look like. But I do think that he is worth a speculative add. You don't really just want to ignore 8 targets and 106 yards. Not bad. I think the touchdowns will be limited though. Other receivers worth mentioning, Corey Davis is pretty solid. Looks like he's still getting those targets from Zach Wilson. And of course, I've already gone over Isaiah McKenzie. So who's missing off this list that you think you need to pick up? Who do I have too high? Who do I have too low? What do you think about this waiver wire selection? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Waiver wire advice you need to pay attention to right now. This might help you win your league. Pay attention. Here's a secret to help dominate your league. Find out when your waivers go through and wake up right before then. See who was not grabbed that you want. People will slide through the cracks. I'm telling you, watch out for it. Also, watch who was dropped. Make sure you are always looking at not only who was picked up, but who was dropped for them. Trust me, I drop people I don't want to drop all the time. Not because I messed up, but you only have so many slots that you can use. Sometimes you gotta give up valuable pieces to get more valuable pieces. But one man's trash is another man's treasure. Tight ends that you need to grab as soon as possible. 3 that are probably already rostered, but you just need to know that if they are there, grab them. Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee, and David Njoku. Any of those 3, if they're out on your waiver wire, they shouldn't be. Grab them. For those of you out there saying, those guys aren't gonna be on my waiver wire. Duh, they're not on everyone's waiver wire, but they will be on some of your waiver wires. Just check. It doesn't hurt to check. Does it really hurt to check? Now I'm going to give you some valuable tight ends to grab. The tight end landscape comes down to what are you looking for? Do you want targets? Do you want touchdown upside? Well, this first one is not touchdown upside. Tyler Conklin is a solid tight end. He gets the targets and he does okay with them. Now, Zach Wilson passed it to him less than Joe Flacco did, but 5 targets for your tight end is okay. If you're looking for touchdowns, I think that Robert Tonyan has a higher probability of getting touchdowns, mainly because Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback and he's kind of one of the best touchdown throwers in the league. And last but not least, Hayden Hurst. I think Hayden Hurst is pretty solid. He's on a good offense. Doesn't get a lot of targets, mainly because he's on a good offense and they don't really need him. But he's a solid tight end. Started off hot on the targets, 8-7. That's not bad. But recently kind of low, 2-4. But I mean, this is the tight end landscape, guys. It's pretty bare, but he could get a touchdown. So that's going to do it for the tight end waiver wire. 3 defenses you can grab off the waiver wire and start this week. Starting with the Vikings. They're going against Chicago, and Chicago could barely put up 12 points against the Giants. I think the Minnesota Vikings should do a solid job. Next, you have Miami against the Jets. The Jets don't really scare you, and I don't think that they're going to be scoring 30 points, so I think that should be pretty solid. Also, they could probably get a few sacks. I mean, they had 4 against Josh Allen. And last but not least, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going up against Houston, and Davis Mills really isn't super impressive, and I think that they could be a pretty solid start. So that's going to do it for my waiver wire episode. Who did I get right? Who did I get wrong? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. Good luck on the wire this week. Peace.